Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jonathan,
And Ginger.
and this is the weekly Scuffle.
A little bit about us. We're both from South Florida. We both like the Heat and Dolphins. And if you think we're going to be biased, of course we are, because all of you watch First Take.
It,
So,
that is a fact. Alright, right now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the top five picks in the NFL draft and what we think is going to happen. Ginger?
I believe at one, Cincinnati has to go with Joe Burrow. The
Yeah,
franchise
I
quarterback is
think we agree
waiting for
from
them.
that. I think everyone does. Ohio native. It just makes too much sense. Number two,
At, at number two, the best player available in the entire draft, I believe, Chase Young to the
yes,
Redskins,
Chase
easy.
Young, easy, is locked down. Number three, alright, this is where we kind of changed our opinion.
Because here it makes sense to take Jeff Okuda for the Detroit
Yes, it,
Lions.
it
We're
makes a
in a
lot of
win now
sense.
mode.
After trading Tua, I mean not Tua, after trading Darius Slay, and the fact that Matt Patricia job might be on the line, I think it makes sense for them to take a win now player.
But I wonder about that because as Matt Patricia's been coaching for I believe 2 years now with the Lions, and I don't think a lot of coaches get to have that franchise quarterback. And I know Matthew Stafford is a borderline Pro Bowler and is really good, but I just don't think I don't think they're gonna get anywhere with this squad. Not even to the playoffs, maybe. So I think just drafting Tua there, if he's most likely available, which he is, I think it's just an opportunity to pass up. They
Yes,
just can't pass it
I
up.
see. I see one factor affecting that the Tua pick, and it's the factor that what's going on in the world right now. Everybody knows. Not gonna name it because everybody knows. You're tired of hearing it. The fact is that with the pandemic that's happening, scouts and GMs are in a position they've never been before. At least 90% of them are, 99, probably 100. And they don't, I feel like most teams are going to be hesitant to trade up unless it's for a surefire guy like Joe Burrow or Chase Young. And I don't think the Redskins or the Bengals are in the position to trade out of those spots.
Well, I think that they have their picks secured. It's Detroit that will be interesting because they might decide trade back, let a team like the Dolphins or maybe the Chargers draft a quarterback there, go to number 5 or 6 and get a couple extra picks, and they'll probably still be able to take Jeff Okuda.
Yeah, I see that happening too. But to be completely honest, I feel like the Dolphins aren't going to try to trade up. And I believe that I think the Chargers are fine with Justin Herbert. I think he's a prototypical quarterback. They'll give Tyrod Taylor a year and they'll let Justin Herbert develop.
Yeah, that's the other factor here that if Miami can gets desperate enough or believe that one or the other will trade up, then maybe they are scared, trade a pick like the 26 or something, and
Yeah,
just take no chances with drafting two and third. Then,
it's all a guessing
but
game
besides
because
that,
for all we know, the Dolphins might want Justin Herbert. There was a report today that said the Dolphins were seriously trying to trade up for Joe Burrow, so we'll just have to see what happens when the draft starts. Hello?
yes,
You want to talk about the fourth pick?
pick is the Giants, right?
Yes, the Giants at four.
Giants here is interesting. It,
Yes, very
they
interesting.
they need a lot. They need probably the next best player in the draft, which I believe, as I say, is Simmons.
Yeah, I think we both agree
But
on that.
yeah, but they also need O line protection. I believe they'll take
It's whether they value
Jedrick
pro-
Willis.
it's whether they value protecting the Danny Dimes or whether they want to just bulk up on defense. And I think they spent a lot on defense this year, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like just getting someone like a Jedrick Willis, a Tristan Wirfs, Mekhi Becton, I feel like all these picks could like really help their team and help Saquon in the run game and help the passing game.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you. I
yeah,
think they need an O lineman, whether it be Becton or Wirfs or even Andrew Thomas, any of them. I think they have to secure. protection for Danny Dimes. They're not gonna go anywhere. The same thing
Yeah,
will happen like Eli.
exactly. Well, this draft actually turned out weirdly because I don't think a lot of people have been expecting this, and I didn't expect it to go this way. With the fifth pick, we have the Dolphins, and most people would say Tua. I wouldn't argue Tua, but as a Dolphins fan, Simmons, who's a top player in this draft, like, what do we think of this?
I like it, but I if I was a Dolphins, I would take no chances. I am taking Tua no matter what.
But
I
isn't
believe
Tua the
his
biggest
health.
chance in this draft?
Yes, but I think the risk is dangerous. But he, the franchise potential that he could have on the Dolphins, it's too great to pass up. And I believe if we don't get him, or if we don't pick a quarterback in general, I think the pick would be Isaiah Simmons. But I also
Yeah.
think that we could trade with Carolina to get the seventh pick, I believe, if Simmons is still available at the pick, trade him some picks
But
in the next couple
there
of years.
will
I believe they're rebuilding.
we would be risking. Are we assuming they're drafting Tua, or are they drafting Simmons?
No, no, no. If we trade with Carolina, we would, in my scenario, hypothetically, already have Tua, and this is
Oh, we trade
like
up to
more greed. No, no, this is be more greedy to get Isaiah Simmons with the
yeah at a
seventh pick
seventh
if he's
pick.
also there.
Yeah. I could see that happening. I think Flores would love an Isaiah Simmons, but I just feel like Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, I feel like the Dolphins, the tank for Tua. I don't necessarily think we're tanking. But I think we were with all those picks we were getting, we were putting ourselves in a position to trade up for the player we wanted. Sadly, Tua got injured, and he's falling now, which might not be sad for Dolphins fans, but he just he I think he was the target at the beginning of the offseason, and I think he still is the target as long as the medicals come clear. His video that he released a couple days ago, he looked decent in those videos. We're not medical professionals, so obviously we don't know. But with the current situation, nobody really knows what's happening. So yeah, you got any final thoughts on this?
We have little evidence to believe Tua is healthy. As no one's been able to go there and work out with him. All we have is the videos that he's shown us and the medical records. But I do believe that he is actually healthy, and I think he's too great to pass up for Miami.
Yeah, but I could see that happening. That for sure, for sure. All right. So now our next subject, we're gonna talk about. This is an out. It could be outlandish to some of you, but we could definitely see this happening. How we think the Miami Heat can go to the NBA Finals.
Notice something he said there. He said go to the NBA Finals.
Yes,
We're
I
not
said
saying they're
go.
gonna win it. We're not saying there's a clear favorite. No, that is still the LA teams.
Yes.
But I do believe that given if the season continues and we get to have a
As
playoffs,
scheduled.
um, the Heat have a legit chance to make the
Yes.
finals.
See, as Heat fans, we both agree that we kind of have the Bucks number as to like how we play them. We believe we could stop them. We match up well with them. But the team that we fear, I wouldn't say fear, but we feel that has the biggest advantage over us is the Boston Celtics with all their wings and all their shooters. We think that that's a team that could very much like push us to our limits.
I believe the same thing, and I have the standings here with me right now. With the season ending, the Boston Celtics are the three seed, and Miami is the fourth seed. I believe if we have a chance to keep playing regular season games, we could catch them and push them down to the fourth seed, making a semifinals of Milwaukee and Boston, and
Yes.
eventually knocking each other out, and maybe being a conference matchup for the Heat if we get to the conference finals.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like we both agree that even if the Heat were in the fourth seed, we have a chance against the Bucks, and that's not a knock on the Bucks, but we just feel like like the Heat as a team, have like their number called, and we believe the Toronto Celtics matchup would be interesting. I feel like the Heat do match up better with the Raptors than they do with the Celtics, because the Celtics, they just have so many guards and so many people that could just score on command for them. Yeah, that's about it. Like, I don't know. You have anywhere else you want to take this?
Yeah, one thing I I only believe this if we avoid one or the other. Like I think really the favorites in the East would be Milwaukee, Boston, and Miami. We're assuming Philadelphia
Yeah.
is still unhealthy or like they're knocked out early. So I don't think that he can get through both Boston and Milwaukee. But I
Yes.
think if we could beat either one of the seven series, we could make it to the finals. However, it won't be through both.
Yeah, but I could also see us. The thing is, the Andre Iguodala trade when we made it, a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's a good trade." I personally saw it as us getting Jay Crowder, and I think I stand by that. Jay Crowder was a good addition, but for non-Heat fans, I get you guys don't watch all the Heat games, but ever since that happened, we lost Myers Leonard. Who yeah, Myers Leonard. Who cares? Like he was our big man. He was a 7 footer. Bam is 6'10", so he's not really a center yet. I think he could get there at some point, but right now he's more of a starting he's more of a starting power forward.
The
And
taller Draymond Green, really.
yeah, and like Myers Leonard, like he helped our spacing and everything, and he just gave us size. Wow, we lost him, and then we also lost Tyler Hero off the bench. So basically, we traded. I think we traded Winslow, who he didn't really play much, but it's more like the trade was more realistically like we traded Hero and Leonard for Godala and Jay Crowder. And I honestly think now, if the season were to resume, we'd have our whole team healthy. So we would like, I feel like the Heat would be able to go on a massive run and actually have a chance of catching up to Boston, if not surpassing them.
Tyler Hero's ability to just stretch the floor alongside Duncan Robinson is just incredible for the Heat. It provides them all the 3-point shooting to match possibly the Celtics. But ever since he went out, there's almost no spacing because everybody will clog the paint. Nobody could drive in,
Yeah,
and they're the two best shooters on the team with, and also Myers Leonard
yeah,
who has the ability to stretch the floor.
Myers Leonard actually did. I think at one point at the beginning of the season led the league in 3 point percentage. I'm not saying he's
Uh,
that good of a shooter, but he does help our spacing.
and our defense, since he's a taller one between Bam and
Yeah, and
himself,
I'm not
a
sure
guy
about the
that could push.
stats, but I think he might be one of our leaders in rebounding. I'm not sure, but I believe so. And if
Yeah, I
that's the
think Bam is
case,
number one and Myers might be number two.
yeah, and if that's the case, that also has to rebounding because one of the things is that the Heat is kind of uh like a weak rebounding team. They're not amazing, but I think we're pretty like up there. And like I think
We're
we're like middle of
not
the
exactly
pack. I think
we're not
we're like
exactly the greatest rebounding team.
I think
We're a
we're
good defensive team because of the zone that helps to hide some
yeah,
defenders.
that's more of like a Spoelstra thing.
Exactly, but we without Leonard, the only true 7 footer there, because Kelly Oubre is also about 6'10", 6'11", and more of an offensive threat. He can't really like rebound like Leonard could.
Yeah.
That's another reason why he needs to come back. Because without him, then it'll most likely be Giannis and Bam all over in the paint, and Giannis will probably dominate. We need Leonard to help him with the double team there.
Yeah, and Leonard is actually I remember this quote. I'm not entirely sure who said it, but Leonard is a 7 foot pure muscle. Like he's not like one of those 7 footers that's like a stick. No, he's like if you actually
Yeah,
look at Myers Leonard, he's like a big guy. He's strong, and you could just tell.
yeah, he was.
And yeah, that's you don't really get that many like centers playing like that in today's NBA. Like the way he stretches the floor. Myers Loki has the ability to be one of the best players in the league, but he hasn't figured it out. And
But
I'm not saying
we don't need him to be the best player. We just need him
yeah,
to
we just
be
need him
what he
to
was.
play his part, be healthy. And with everything going on, I feel like we could get healthy and make a run at the finals. We're saying go to the finals, we're not saying win the finals because even as Heat fans, both the LA teams would be hard matchups for us.
They both beat us in our house. It was a close game to the very end, but they still came out on top.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. It's more of like it's like a because the Heat are like a very gritty team, and I feel like those teams because the Heat they run a 3-2 zone, and zones usually shooting kind of breaks zones, and I feel like and so does passing and cutting. And I feel like the Clippers are pretty exceptional at shooting, while the Lakers are more like they're more of a cutting slashing team, and that helps them break our zones.
That's one of the reasons why we believe the Celtics are the team most feared. 'Cause I believe they
Yeah,
have the firepower to break that zone.
yeah. They,
Then
they
we have
just have they just have the shooting, and they could cut because they have like three small forwards that could drop 20 on you. Not to mention Kemba Walker, who could also drop 20 of you. That's already like 80 points between four players.
the way to attack the Celtics is well with their they don't have exactly one of the strongest benches in the league anymore, and they're not exactly big. I believe they have Tice and Robert Williams and Ennis Cantor, who are not all defensive
Yeah,
great centers,
their centers
but
aren't really amazing.
like Myers there to attack them.
Yeah, and even then, is that I remember. I feel like the main difference, is our spacing. When like looking back at it, it's been a while, but looking back at it, since we lost Tyler Hero and Myers Leonard, our spacing has been pretty like bad. Like there's times where no Jimmy can't drive, Bam can't drive, like nobody can really drive because there's not like anyone on the floor to space it. You and that's with Duncan Robinson on the floor. And it's
I
just
wanna I wanna make a quick comparison here that I'm not saying that Tyler and Duncan are the same as these two players I'm gonna mention, but they work in a similar style. Like I want to mention Curry and Clay. Like they're both amazing shooters, and they both can do incredible stuff by themselves. But you would rather have them both together on the court because is with Curry alone,
yeah,
like you saw a little bit this season. Focus all your attention on him. Make him drive up. Make him drive. Do not let him shoot
yeah.
threes.
Like
But if you have
once they're
both of
on
them,
the
it's two
court,
guys.
yeah, once they're on the court, it's like you have to respect them as shooters. Cause there's yeah, people could shoot threes, but then you still have defenders that are slightly sagging off of them. With a player like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, you need to be in their face, absolutely no sagging, and
And
that works.
with Duncan by himself, the defense just focuses on him. They don't have
Yeah,
the
they
Heat
could
don't have a guy
switch
like Tyler here to
easier
pick up the pressure.
because if they had Tyler and Duncan in, I feel like they ran that lineup a decent amount with Tyler and Duncan. If both of them are running around cutting, you can't really be switching because next thing you know, you're gonna have like your point guard on Bam, and then that's not a preferable like matchup for any
And
team.
another thing Tyler Hero brings is that I know Jimmy and Bam are the all stars, and like Jimmy's the leading. I don't want to say leading shot taker, but like the main guy. But if you go back and watch Heat footage, like we have the Heat games, Tyler Hero usually shows up in the clutch time, whether it be take
Yeah,
the
he
ball
does.
himself or Jimmy passes it to him. And without him, the Heat have struggled in the clutch.
Yeah, Tyler Hero. He's got that. The Heat do have their two stars, but Tyler has that star. Like just that attitude. That I'll take the shot. I don't want to call it the Dion Waiters effect, but his field goal percentages might be negative some games, but he just because he's not afraid to take the shot, and I don't think anyone doesn't like. I think people are fine with him taking the shots because his 3 point percentages are amazing. I feel like he just struggles driving in for now, not the future. In the future, he'll probably improve in these areas, but even then, that like attitude and that like the way he just plays is just contagious, and it helps the team.
That attitude that you're talking about, I think he will take the shot and he won't be afraid if he misses. Like
Yeah,
he
like
will
it
pick
won't
him up
phase
and
him.
he'll take the next one perfectly fine again. Like he's
Yeah.
usually, if not like the go-to shot taker in the clutch, he's usually the guy who gets the ball and makes the clutch shot.
Yeah, like you just tell Jimmy trusts him. Like if Jimmy trusts somebody, he like the person is special, especially if he's 19 years old. I think now we should start our final subject, and it's kind of a throwback to the first subject because we did talk about this guy. It's where we see Tua going, like what pick we see him going.
I I think he will go to the Dolphins unless like some team out of nowhere comes out or the
Yeah,
Chargers realize Herbert's just not the same level as him. But I think Tua really has the potential to make the Dolphins, who haven't had a decent quarterback since Marino, like
well they
I don't
had a
want to say
decent
title.
quarterback. They had decent quarterbacks. They just didn't have the franchise guy.
Okay, okay, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah, they
a
didn't have
guy
the
like
franchise guy.
Stark
Yeah, yeah.
caliber, like, I don't think he'll turn them into title contenders. I don't want to say, but it won't be these 5 and
Yeah,
11 seasons that you're
he could
getting.
be a Drew Brees, Russell Wilson to our team that we haven't had a player like that since Marino. Like just
Now, assuming that we draft
oh yeah,
Tua, I
assuming we
am
draft to.
100% with sitting him for a year,
Yeah,
maybe two if he
because
has to.
he could honestly the Dolphins I feel like are built as a Dolphins fans, we're not even I feel like a lot of teams are gonna look at our signings this year and they're gonna be like, oh, the Dolphins yeah, they're going in the right trend. But next year we're also if you look at the cap for next year, we're gonna have I think top three cap space, not entirely sure. But they're gonna have like top three cap space. They're gonna have two first rounders, two second rounders. Like next year, they're gonna after next year, I believe that's when our team will be fully complete, and then we'll actually be contending. We'll take control of the AFC East, and we're just gonna be contending at that point. But
Now, I wanna get
yeah,
in here with the AFC thing, because I but now with Tom Brady obviously going to the Buccaneers, it seems like the division is wide open, and I believe the favorite right now should be Buffalo. But I
eh,
do think that we could take the division, maybe not this year, but next year. And now there's still Lamar Jackson, Patrick
mm,
Mahomes in the AFC. Nobody's saying they're gonna go to the Super Bowl. We're just saying that we think we have a bright future, but only like with Tua and like
yeah, with
possibly
Tua.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a thing like Justin Herbert isn't our guy. I feel like as Dolphins fans, we just kind of been brainwashed and like Tua's our guy. If we don't get Tua, we're gonna be disappointed. I think that goes for 99% of Dolphins fans. I mean, there might be some of you that don't like Tua, and I get it because of the injury history. But the way we see it is we sit him for a year, he gets healthy, and then in the 2021 season, we come in with, including this year, we would that would be five first round picks. We would have two, I think, no, that would be like four second rounders, and then we would have not including the rest of the picks in both the drafts, and we would have max cap space like 2 years in a row. And to be completely honest, I feel like that could help. But speaking about Tua, I would like to know what you think about the reports about John Gruden and the Raiders maybe trading up for him.
I think that it's a little it's a little ridiculous. I mean, this guy I'm not an expert on anything. I just like to talk about sports, and he knows a lot more than me. But he came from TV, signed $100 million deal, and now is apparently running the entire Oakland Raiders franchise. And he trades away Khalil Mack and does usually these crazy moves. And now he
Well,
wants to try and trade for Tua.
he was a coach.
That,
He was a coach before. He
but
before
it was
TV.
before that point, I believe, like about 10 years, or I might be wrong on that, or a little more. But he would say trades for Tua. He has Derek Carr and Mariota currently on his roster. Now,
Yeah.
I don't believe in Mariota, really. I don't think he's developed enough to be a starter. I do believe in Derek Carr, though. I remember when he had his MVP caliber season, I guess, where he got injured in
Yeah.
like week 16, I
I
believe,
feel like ever
and the
since that
Raiders were.
injury, he hasn't been the same.
And it sort of reminds me of like the Teddy Bridgewater injury, with like kid with a bright future and just hasn't been the same. But I don't think he's been put in the best
Yeah,
situation
it
yet.
wasn't as the level like as big as
Yeah, he wasn't
Bridgewater's
as bad.
injury, but yeah, it definitely affected him somewhat. And I also think, what about? I believe that like Gruden, I feel like he's a wild card. So I honestly don't have a clue what he could do. They have the ammunition. I didn't have two first rounders, so maybe they could trade up if the Lions want to. I'm not sure, but we'll
But
see.
I don't think that they should, because I don't think they've given Derek Carr a fair chance. He was supposed to have
Yeah, like
Antonio Brown
I
and
don't think
never
they
did.
should. I don't think they should. And I feel like honestly, Mariota and Carr, that's a great QB room for any team. To be fair, so like those two will push each other, and if those two, since those two are in the same QB room fighting for the same starting job, one of them has to outplay the other, and they're both capable of playing extraordinarily good. So it's up to them, and once they're pushing each other to that level, if you make a mistake, you're benched. So you're gonna have to play at a high level consistently, and I feel like that's where Derek Carr struggles is consistency. And I feel like Mariota and Carr, that QB battle is gonna really like help both those players succeed.
But I do believe that the Kibata will help each other, but I don't believe that they've been given, at least in Carr, hasn't been given a fair shot yet. Remember
Yeah,
how Dak
exactly.
Prescott was before the Amari Cooper trade?
Yeah, he hasn't had that top receiver. That's true. But the thing
Now,
is,
now look,
I feel like this is kind of a thing where like maybe hey they could always draft a receiver. I think they have the 12th pick if I'm not mistaken, and the eight no the Dolphins have the 18th, but they have the 12th pick, and they could always draft receiver there.
they have 12th and 19th, I believe. I think they could draft a Jerry Judy or CeeDee Lamb,
Yeah,
and
they could definitely
they're
draft one of
probably they're
those.
rookies. They're not like number one wideouts like Amari Cooper is, but I think they'll be a very nice target along with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfro for them.
Yeah, for sure. Like that could help them. And then another rumor. Well, we got the Lions and the Redskins. I feel like we could cross out the Redskins unless we don't think they're crazy, right? We believe Chase Young, best player in the draft, regardless of
Yeah,
position.
they're taking Chase Young. I think he's just too surefire to pass up for them with the
Yeah.
uncertainty of Tua right now, especially with all
Ron
that's going on
Ron
in the
Rivera
Redskins.
being a defensive head coach, I think he'll love Chase Young.
They
So,
will.
alright, so the Lions taking Tua is I don't believe that. Like I stated that before. Jeff Okuda, I feel like they're in a win now mode because Matt Patricia's job's on the line. And what about the Chargers?
I want to address the Lions first. I think this makes more sense for me, and I'm a Dolphins fan. I am against them picking Tua, but I think just the I, this is how much I think of Tua. I think the opportunity to just have him there for Matt Patricia being a young coach is is too important for him to pass
Yeah,
up. However, I don't think he has the option to do it because of how Detroit has been the last couple years with him. And the Chargers, I think they like Tyrod Taylor. So no matter if they pick Herbert or Tua, I think they're gonna stick with Taylor as a starter. But I don't think that I don't think that
like they need to trade up.
they feel like how different. Yeah, they don't feel to trade. I don't feel like they're as different about Tua with Herbert as we
Yeah,
are. Like I believe it's Burrow and Tua, and I believe it's really Tua when he's healthy.
yeah,
But
definitely.
Herbert's just on another level below them.
Yeah, I think is that I feel I could see that because the Chargers they do have like a win now team. I'm not. I think it was their O line that held them back last year or something because their defense is pretty stacked. And the fact that I think the Chargers are in the division that doesn't help them. I mean, not the Chargers, the Chiefs. They're in their division, so that doesn't help them. And the fact, I feel like the fact that they see Justin Herbert at six, are like, why would we like give up these assets where we could like help the rest of our team instead of just drafting Herbert, and we already have a pretty nasty team built around him. So we could develop him for a year, let Tyrod do his thing, and we'll just run it with Herbert next year with a good supporting
I
cast.
I agree with you. I think that they don't want to trade up. I'm not sure, however, if they want to take Justin Herbert if they really like are in a
Well, I,
win
I
now
feel
mode.
I feel like they're good sitting there for a year, letting Tyrod run the show, and then run it like develop Herbert this year and let him play next year with the good team that he has around him.
No, yeah, I agree. It's just like they have for example, they have Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson, I believe, in the back. So they lost Melvin Gordon. They have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and they franchise tag Hunter Henry, and they have Joey Bosa who's gonna be free agent in a couple of months, Melvin Ingram. They have good defense players. Their O line was just really bad last year, and it didn't help that their quarterback was one of the slowest quarterbacks probably in history. So
Yeah, that's
couldn't
true.
scramble and buy himself a little more time.
And also, I'd like to note that I believe Forrest Lamp, who I was high on a couple years ago for the Dolphins drafting, I think he was a guard, a high second round or third round pick, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he was injured. I'm not sure, but I believe he was injured. So him coming back might help their O line. And yeah, I think they also did a trade with the Panthers, right? They traded for like a guard, I think, for Turner.
Yeah, they traded for Trey Turner, and I forget
Yeah,
who
they
they gave
they
up.
traded like Okung. Was it Okung?
I think it was Russell looking for Trey Turner with the Panthers. I believe
Yeah,
so.
they decided to get more. I think they decided to get more guard help. I'm not entirely sure if they draft or like not drafted. They picked up any tackles in free agency. But hey, they could always. They could always just be looking for a tackle. They could be looking for Tristan Wirfs or Andrew Thomas. If the draft plays out like that, then they could have the best tackle on the board at 6.
That's what I was. That's what I was referring to. I don't know 100% if they want Justin Herbert. Like there's been also some reports from draft analysts saying Jordan Love will go after Tua. That maybe they like him more and get him in a later round. But I think they have a possibility to select, if not the highest tackle, the second highest tackle. You don't know if New York will go with a tackle at 4 or Isaiah Simmons, but that could be a very important piece in helping this year with Tyler Taylor if they really believe that he can take them if they don't want to go with Justin Herbert.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, well, honestly, I feel like that's a good place to start or to stop the podcast. And yeah, that's episode 1 of the weekly scuffle. Goodbye. Ginger wants any parting words?
If you've made it this far, just thank you for listening.
Yeah, subscribe because we have like 2 right now. It's totally not ourselves, right? We'll see y'all later.